In today's video, we are going to be discussing how you as a DJ should be handling requests. Now, I feel like this is quite a timely topic because at the time of filming this video, it is Christmas time, the holiday period. And so I don't know about you, but certainly here in the UK, I experience a lot of people in my crowd that, let's just say, they don't get out very often. And so they don't really know how requests really work at a event where a DJ is performing. And so I thought I'll give you some tips and guidance that have certainly helped me over the years. Let's get straight into it. So I'm going to break this video down into three distinct parts. First and foremost, it's considering your environment or your surroundings that you're playing in. Secondly is your approach to requests. And then thirdly, and probably the most challenging part, is how to relay the information back to the customer or the client that is requesting. By the way, I am very intrigued to find out where you are watching from. I know here in the UK where I am based, requests surge at this time of year. It's an absolute nightmare on some nights. So do leave me a comment and let me know if you find this challenging, particularly at this time of year. First and foremost then, let's talk about the environment within which you are DJing. And this will determine whether you should be playing the request or not. To bring this to life a little bit, on a Friday night, I play in a multi-room nightclub. My room that I play in is very house dance music led. We also have an R&B led room and then also a pop party cheesy type room. Now, I will not break the music policy for anyone. As I mentioned at the start of this video, at this time of year, we get a lot of people that really don't understand what the hell is going on in the venue, and they don't really get the music policies. And so for that reason, I won't break that. I will simply direct that person to the right room of the club where I possibly can. Not actually physically take them. I'll just say, look, they play that upstairs or they play that on the top floor. And that is the end of it, because I just won't break the music policy. The same goes for if you are booked to play a specialist event. Maybe you're booked to play an hour of techno, and so the crowd are largely there to hear techno music, and certainly the promoter or the manager or whoever's booked you is expecting you to play techno music. Do not break the music policy if you have got one. If you're playing a little bit more of an open format event, so maybe a wedding, a birthday party, a Christmas party, a corporate event, then what I would do is I would always refer back to the playlist that you have been given, because there might be particular styles of music that they would prefer you to play over others. And if in doubt, then go back to your client. You need to keep the client happy because ultimately they are the people that are paying you. And I know that when I've DJed weddings in the past, a long time ago, I used to get a list of songs that the bride and groom certainly wanted me to avoid. And so I would just double check to make sure that it is in fitting with the styles of music that they wanted. But if in doubt, you can always check with the client. But if it is more open format, I am pretty certain that you are more likely to be playing requests than not. So that is the environment, and that is the first factor that you need to consider. Is it even going to be suitable for the place that you are playing? Now we've covered off the environment, let's talk about your approach to playing requests. So imagine that you've got some requests in and actually they could work. These are going to be things that you are going to play. Well, your approach needs to be that the request is played when it suits the night and not the customer. So to try and detach the two. Because if a customer demands a request, you stop everything and you start playing it, and then you go back to what you were playing before, or you perhaps play it too early or too late, then it is just going to disrupt the flow of your night. To give you that example of the room that I play in on a Friday where I play house music, say for example, I'm playing a warm-up set, you know, it's fairly early on in the night, slightly lower tempo, someone comes in and they ask for something that is much faster tempo, more of a peak hour track. Well, if I stop what I'm doing with the warm-up and I play this peak hour track and then go back to my warm-up set, yes, I might really please that customer in the moment. However, everyone else that's kind of moving into the room, they're, you know, at the bar having a bit of a chat, moving slowly onto the dance floor, they're just going to get confused and thrown off because we're suddenly going from really low energy, like, you know, lower tempo, bringing the energy right up and then back down again. It just will disrupt the flow of the night. So you need to consider where you are going to slot that request in and the approach that you are going to bring in order to make it fit with the rest of the clientele. You need to think of the bigger picture rather than each customer in isolation. And if you're playing multiple requests, if you're chopping and changing just to, you know, please each individual customer, you're going to end up with a whole ton of problems because the set is just going to have absolutely no structure. And ultimately, the customer needs to have some patience. So I would say use them as a guide, but also only play requests when it is suitable for the night, and think about the bigger picture. So we've considered the environment that you are playing in and if a request is in or it's out. And we've also considered the approach in terms of the timing, the structure of the set, and also thinking about the bigger picture and the wider crowd rather than customers in isolation. But now, how do you communicate back to the customer that has asked you? And in my experience over the years is be as assertive, not rude, assertive as possible, and give them a definitive outcome of their request that they have asked for. Avoid using ambiguous language. So avoid phrases like, oh, maybe, or I'll check if I've got it. Oh, maybe later, those kind of things. Avoid those phrases because if the customer's had a few lemonades, it can get quite annoying, especially if they leave, they come back going, oh, have you thought about it yet? Oh, have you checked if you've got that song yet? You know, you want to avoid those repeat visits over to you. So definitely try and give them a definitive outcome. If I use my example where I'm playing in the house music room, if I get like a cheesy request that comes in, I'll say, no, not suitable for this room. However, they will play it upstairs if you ask that DJ, it's that style of music. Now, if that customer keeps on repeating themselves because they've had a few drinks, for example, and they say, oh, please, oh, yeah, but I think you should play it here and all of this, I just will not change my answer. I say, look, you know, you can ask me as many times as you want. The answer will not change. They will play it upstairs. Unfortunately, I'm not able to play that music in this room. And do not budge is what I would say. You need to stand firm when it comes to it because ultimately, sometimes that's the only language that people understand. You're not being rude, you're just standing your ground, you're just saying, no, unfortunately not. And the reality of the situation is that you can't have everything that you want, right? If the request is just not for the right moment, I would just say, yes, I will play that. However, it will be much later on in the night. And that is my response over and over again. And if they say, oh, but why not now? I say, I play songs once, I'll play it later, but it won't be right now. It's not suitable for right now. And I try and keep the interaction fairly short and sweet, but quite assertive. If the customer comes and requests a song that you have already played. Now, me personally, I have a play it once and done policy. I won't repeat music because I play for literally like 4 hours in a night. There's a lot of songs that I can play in 4 hours. And so for me, once and done is absolutely fine. I will just say to the customer, you know, unfortunately, I've already played it. I'm not playing it again. However, your client, if you are DJing for like a corporate gig and it's a slightly longer time period, may allow you to play songs more than once. The worst thing though that you can have is playing the song again in quite a short succession and the whole dance floor going, oh, we've already heard this one, you know, so just consider your approach. And it might be okay if the set is quite extended. Like, make sure that you are being assertive back to the customer saying yes or no, or yes, but this, or no, but that. You know, just keep it very decisive. And ultimately, if they're being rude and they just say, you know, why aren't you playing it? Just go, I'm not playing it. Put your headphones back on and crack on with your work. They will eventually get tired out and leave. The key is, and it is a fine balance, just don't be rude. Just make sure that you stand your ground. Hope that you have found this video useful. Do let me know any horror stories that you've had when it comes to requests. There is no real right or wrong approach. This is just an approach that works for me. Massive shout out to all of my members that are displayed on screen. As always, please do leave me a comment with any questions you may have, and I will catch you in the next one.